I'm somebody who is like naturally good at games, but it took me like 10 to 20 minutes, I reckon, per boss, like to get through them.
Shannon's face.
Yeah, no.
Because you say that weekly. Like, I can't even
like,
bother refuting it.
Hello and welcome to the Press Start podcast, Press Start Australia's weekly video game discussion podcast. I'm your host, Ewan, and I'm joined today by my fellow gamers and co-hosts, Shannon.
Howdy.
And James.
Hello.
Later on the show, we're also going to be joined by Harry as well, sharing his review of Ghosts of Yotei. I got to have a little bit of a one-on-one chat with him about that, aside to our recording today. Otherwise, we've got a bunch of reviews to cover, including Silent Hill F and Dying Light the Beast, which I've been playing as well. But first, James, I want to come straight to you and ask you about the OD Knock trailer that came out. I say OD Knock, that is the new name for the game that we otherwise knew as OD or Overdose. I think it's had kind of various iterations of that in the past. Was I wrong in that?
No, I don't know.
I think the trailer is just Knock, isn't it?
I think so. What
is
for what
OD
I understand,
not relevant anymore?
No. It's so for this. I don't know if this is 100% confirmed
in the game, right?
Yeah, I think it's like an anthology kind of situation, and Kojima's part of it is called Knock. So
okay.
Obviously, Jordan Peele will have a segment. I'm assuming some other directors will have like their own little bits as well, which is like interesting. I don't really know how that works though, from like a director's perspective. Like, is it? It says a game by Hideo Kojima, but like, is it? Do you know what I mean? Like, it feels like it's for everyone, right?
You'd have to imagine that like Jordan Peele's involvement in an anthology, like another iteration in the anthology, wouldn't be the same as Kojima's would be, but.
Yeah. Has
this been confirmed previously, or is this new information? Because I feel like I've been banging on about this for ages.
It's still not really confirmed, right? I think it's just like suspected that it could be the case.
Yeah.
What could be the case?
The anthology thing.
Oh, yeah. No, I swear I saw a tweet about it. Like, I don't know.
I feel like it's a prediction I've been making forever about OD being an anthology series. Like Jordan Peele doing an episode and... Ari Aster doing another, maybe like...
Do we think it'll all come out at once then, or will it just be a thing that rolls out on Game Pass over time?
Maybe just over time.
Because that's almost more exciting, because that means it'll come quicker, I think.
I found this tweet. Hideo Kojima said that Knock is the title of his part of OD. He said other directors like Jordan Peele will make their own subtitle for their parts. It seems like it'll be an anthology. But that's like it's a tweet. It doesn't have any...
random.
It's like, it's a person who like posts news. So like, maybe it was
one of James's insiders.
No.
Yeah, I think that sounds legit. That excites me more, because I think if we're waiting for all these different parts, I don't think the game will ever come out. Where I think if it's just Kojima's bit first, that's good, and a good foundation.
It's like Xbox's own Dark Pictures anthology, if you like. What did you make of the trailer?
Fine. I just think like we have seen so little for so long, and then we get so little again. Like, he's giving us crumbs, man. Like, I want to see more. Like, Death Stranding is done. Well, it's not, obviously. He's returning to that word a lot, but yeah, I just want to know what the game is. Like, I know it's probably going to be what PT was, but, you know, rejigged to be legally distinct, but like, yeah, but I don't know. I just want to see, because that leaked footage that we had ages ago, like, this looks nothing like that, right?
Yeah, it really does look different, doesn't it?
So, like, I'm just so keen to know what this game is, and is it going to be like, say, some third-person bits and maybe some first? Like, each person has their own style,
or like, say, Kojima has 3 different short stories. Like, will they all just be different gameplay styles and stuff? But then, how does that work for, like, say, Jordan Peele, who isn't a game developer, for instance?
Well, no, I think he makes the game.
Kojima makes them.
Side of it, right? Like, it's just written by.
So they're just stories, kind of otherwise.
It's like like George R. R. Martin didn't program Elden Ring. Like, he was, he just gave them the line.
No, but I think if Kojima's doing it, so like gameplay and story are different for each. I don't know if that. Yeah, I don't know if that works as well. I think there has to be a foundation that like Jordan Peele could look at and know what he's working with to an extent. But I don't know. You're right. The leaked stuff, which we don't even know is 100% true, like look totally different to this. which is cool and exciting, dynamic even.
I'm more excited for this than I was excited for Death Stranding 2. I mean, I liked Death Stranding 2 when it came out, obviously, but yeah, I am keen to see what Kojima does with horror.
I mean, you're a Kojima guy, but you're also a horror guy, so I thought this is like the perfect kind of overlap of your interests. Yeah. PT, I think to this day is still like the scariest kind of video game experience I've ever had. Like that game really gave me the heebie-jeebies. And this,
so the time I've like screamed, I think audibly out loud.
That only time you've screamed audibly, okay.
Probably ever. It's the only time I've felt anything in my whole life.
When you grabbed me as I was playing that like Until Dawn VR game that one time, that's probably the most scared I've ever been.
I can come do it again while you play OD if you want.
Yeah, I'm playing OD in a group setting, James. I hate to break it to you, but I'm getting the friends around to play this one. There's no way I'm playing this solo.
Awful. Like, point... Yeah. Way to diminish the whole point.
I think I played PT by myself, like alone in the dark of my bedroom back when that came out.
But the trailer is very vibey. Like, again, it's hard to really know what's happening, but just everything about it is good spooks.
I thought it was cool how, like, they were kind of censoring some of the text, like blacking it out. Redacting it. And then how they clearly kind of blurred something in the gameplay footage as well that they didn't want to reveal. I'm like, what is going on here?
I can't.
And all the whole like candle sequence and then lighting the baby candle and you saw. I just
I hope there's more tomorrow, like at the Xbox thing.
Oh, you reckon we're gonna get?
I don't reckon there's gonna be.
There's got to be more. Like, I don't see why you come back with like such a small amount of something.
I mean, it could still be a couple of years, like 3-4 years away, right?
I mean,
how long was it between,
like, you know,
Death Stranding 1 and 2?
I mean, 2 just came out, right? But I feel like OD's been in development for ages.
It's like these could be like 40-minute experiences, right? Like, and again, because it is Game Pass, like it could just be that 2 or 3 of them drop, and that's it.
I know it was just a demo, but I think there was something quite nice about the size of PT. Like it felt kind of, although again, just a demo, it felt kind of like its little own self-contained thing. Granted, without much of a story attached to it, but I wouldn't be opposed to them being kind of bite-sized things like that.
I'd almost prefer that because then, I think we'll be waiting another 5 years if that's the case.
I wanted to say as well, it looked incredible, like the fidelity of it.
Unreal Engine.
Kind of even like bits and pieces of the kind of art design as well.
No Decima here.
No, it was Unreal, wasn't it? And using the kind of metahuman sort of technology, which he's kind of spoken about in the past as well. I appreciate that he's kind of always on like the cutting edge of technology in that regard as well. He kind of does it all. Interested for this game. I hope we do see more of it as well, James. We might have more about it to talk about next week. Okay, well, we're going to talk about more horror games in just a moment, but here is where I want to cut to our conversation with Harry about Ghost of Yotei, a game I was very excited to hear more about, and I will say kind of his review did surprise me a little bit, so I'm curious to hear what you two think of it on the other side as well. Harry, it's a little bit of a one-on-one time splicing here in the pod to talk about a game that I'm very excited about, Ghost of Yotei, which you've been spending a ton of time with for your review. I'm super keen to hear your thoughts, but kick us off. Firstly, what did you score the game and why?
Yeah, I scored it an 8.5, largely because, like the other first party PlayStation titles, it's definitely more iterative than it is innovative, and it doesn't quite feel as landmark as when Tsushima came out. But I suspect people who really enjoyed Tsushima will really love this game. They'll get a huge kick out of it, if not just for the fact that it's more Ghost. But yeah, I think it's a good time overall for sure.
I must admit, 8.5 does surprise me a little bit. It's a little bit on the lower side than I hoped. I mean, granted, I don't want to take anything away from that score. That's really good. But, I mean, the first game was maybe like a solid 9 in my mind. Do you think it is just that it's more of the same and doesn't feel as kind of fresh as that first one did when it landed? Did it struggle to differentiate in much of a meaningful way?
Yeah, I think that's sort of probably my biggest pain point with it, is that it does feel like just more of the same. There are changes to the combat system and like nuances to the way that they've changed skill trees and there's obviously new weapons and stuff, but functionally it's very similar. Even though you have new weapon types, like you have dual katana and kusarigama and like odachi, they kind of work the same way as stances did in the first game, in the sense that like it's still very lock and key. You won't really be like swapping between them in fights, because it's like, well, this enemy has a shield, you use a kusarigama. This enemy has a katana, you use a katana. So it doesn't really feel... It feels the same in that regard, but I also think the narrative overall is a little bit weaker than Tsushima's, and I think that's because it's got some non-linear elements. The second act, I wouldn't say the pacing is poor, but like it feels a little incohesive. It's maybe a bit messy is the right word. I think it has some really high highs when it hits them, but it doesn't really come together properly until you hit Act 3, and that's when it feels like things really get going. And I will say that I think the game has a really strong ending. It's very quite poignant, and obviously like revenge is a theme that is explored quite a lot in media, and I don't think that this has much more to say on that, but I think it does a really good job of what it does say. And I think that people who like those kinds of stories and the inspirations that Yotei takes from will get a big kick out of it in that regard.
Okay, so a few things I want to dig into deeper there. Firstly, the kind of non-linear sort of fashion of it. They kind of made a feature, if I remember correctly, in their trailers and state of play ahead of this kind of like time switching sort of element. Like, I take it that then factors into the storytelling and not
really.
Oh, really?
That stuff is incredibly optional. It's almost easy to forget that it's there. Like, when you enter Yotei at the start of the game, you venture to Atsu's former family house, and that is the only place you can do the time switching. So it's a way to go back in time to when Atsu was younger, before tragic events unfold, and you can spend time with her family and learn more about the relationships that she had with her parents and her brother, and sort of it's very much done in a way that shows you what was taken away from her by the Yotei 6 and is meant to sort of fuel your own quest against them.
Right.
But yeah,
does it really just kind of explore the character then, as opposed to like, okay,
pretty much. And it's entirely optional. It's only if you want to. Like you have to like go out of your way to make the trip back to Atsu's like house, and then go back in time. And then you can find little vignettes and story bits that you can engage in when you feel like it.
Like otherwise arriving there is like by way of the story, or kind of like passing back through?
Not really. It's in sort of an awkward position in the open world where like as you sort of first come out, if you think about Tsushima and there's that scene where Jin's riding on the back of the horse and he like runs his hands through the reeds and stuff. There's a similar moment in this game where you first enter Yotei and like Atsu's house is almost immediately there. So it is a place that you come back to for like weapon upgrades. That's kind of it. All the other stuff is done at like other hub locations, other towns. So like often I found myself forgetting about the time thing until I would go back to upgrade my weapons because I had the materials for it. And then I'd be like, oh yeah, that's right, I can do this. And then, you know, I would enjoy those moments, but I don't know, it feels not half-baked, but it feels like they could have done more with it in the rest of the open world. Because as it stands right now, it's a cool showcase of what like the SSD can do. Like obviously the whole environment switches on a dime. But yeah, I wager most players will probably forget that it's a thing until they go back. Yeah.
I do want to return to the positives at some point, because at 8.5 is a very favorable score. But on this story, can I feel anecdotally, at least talking to my friends about Ghost of Yotei and the people that maybe fell out of the story, it was kind of down to the pacing and not really kind of maybe loving the combat, loving the world, but not really connecting with the story. And it sounds similar with the first and the second, in that it kind of doesn't really get good until like halfway, 2/3 of the way sort of through, when it really starts to all kind of crescendo and come together. Am I right in thinking it's a very similar sort of pacing?
Sort of.
This time around?
I think Act 1 of Yotei is like phenomenal. Like it is so good. It does such a good job of setting the tone and the atmosphere that Sucker Punch are going for with this game. And they do such a good job of characterizing Atsu in the early hours as well. And it really like plays to that fantasy of being like an outlaw samurai, like hunting people down for revenge. Like it's done really well. But when the game sort of lets you off the leash into the open world, and there's like sort of, I guess most of Act 2 is chasing down members of the Yotei 6, but you can choose in which order you want to do 2 of them. So you either go north to, I believe it's called Tokaichi Range, which is like a snow ridge, mountain range, very like covered in snow and very cold. And then the other area is I forget the name of it, but it's on like a beach and red trees, and the weather is quite different. And 2 separate members of the Yotei 6 doing their own things in each region. And I think the pacing in, like, these are obviously self-contained stories. They do loop back to like the core event that sort of instigates everything in this game. But the pacing is a little bit rough in the sense that like they're structured the same. Like you arrive in an area, a member of the Yotei 6 is terrorizing or taking advantage of the population. You find out why, you investigate them, you have a run-in with them, they get away, you have some sort of setback, and then you have another run-in with them and a boss fight. And that almost happens for every member of the Yotei 6. So it does get like a little bit repetitive, and it does feel like the quest chains around each individual member probably goes on for a little bit longer than they need to. But I do think that there are some really engaging elements, and I can't spoil those. It would be spoiling to talk about what makes each of them interesting, because there are definitely factors that make you want to keep playing. But I also think that like for me, Tsushima was really well paced, and I really enjoyed the tension of like Jin sort of trying to wrestle with the internal turmoil of like being a samurai versus what he needs to be to save Tsushima. I think that like it's a little bit different here in that it's more about exploring Atsu's motivations and reevaluating what it means to so vehemently chase after revenge. And it's done through these side stories, and it's done well when they wrap, but like it does feel like they are a bit slow to get there.
Right. I definitely want to talk more about the setting, but I feel like I'd be amiss to not ask you here about Assassin's Creed Shadows. Did you play Assassin's Creed Shadows just
I did, about
confirm?
10 or 15 hours, yeah.
Okay, I feel like that's kind of enough. Do you think like it's like it hinders this game in any way that it came out the same year as Assassin's Creed Shadows, just given all the similarities, both in the story as well as the setting, obviously?
Yeah, I don't think it helps it. I mean, I can't imagine how I would have felt if I had played through all of Shadows. I do think, like, generally speaking, this game does a much better job of getting you involved in Atsu's quest for revenge. Partly because Erika Ishii does such a good job as Atsu, but also, like, she's not a very likable character. Like, she's written to be quite abrasive. She's alone. Like, she doesn't have anyone. And I very much think Sucker Punch have intentionally written her to be not the easiest to come around to. But when you see like the fleeting moments of humanity, or, you know, she has a soft spot for certain people, you see the good in her, and that obviously grows and blossoms as you progress through. So I think, like, for me, a big reason I fell off Shadows was just because I really wasn't interested in the characters, even though it is a very similar setup. This feels... Maybe it's more focused because it's one protagonist, and a lot of the focus is on Atsu and sort of the people that she meets along her journey and how that impacts her and her worldview. So I think, I think it's just, I don't know. I don't think overall it helps, especially if you've played Shadows all the way through. But I do also think that if you generally like revenge stories and the kind of narrative that this is trying to tell, you'll probably still get a kick out of it, I think.
Yeah. I think, I'm yet to have dived in and played any myself yet, but having played 40, 50 hours of Shadows, I'm kind of expecting to connect with it better. The stories, as you said, but I kind of imagine there's a level of polish and
Yeah.
kind of a stronger game feel that Shadow's like not lacking, but just maybe kind of at a different tier. Let's talk about the setting a little bit more, though. Obviously, it was kind of at the first game. I loved the art design of it. The environmental art was fantastic. Have they just knocked it out of the park again?
Yeah, this game is like, it's fucking gorgeous. Like I played on a base PS5 as well, so I was really, really staggered at just how good it looks. I played Death Stranding,
I'm forgetting where we're at with consoles. I will be base PS5 as well.
When I played Death Stranding on the beach, I was like, wow, there's no way that there like anything will be coming out anytime soon that looks nearly as good as this. But like, I don't think I've taken as many screenshots in a game as I have playing through Yotei. Like, it's genuinely gorgeous. There are so many different like biomes as well. Like the Yotei grasslands, which is sort of where you start, is similar to like the rolling hills of Tsushima that you have in the first game. But then you go to like Tokichi Range and it's like snow-capped mountains dotted with like colorful trees and things like that. And then when you go to, there's two other areas, but the other major one is almost like, it's like a ash and smoky hue in the air, and the trees have red leaves, and it's just like the color palette of each area, everything, it's so stylish is such a really good way to put it. And like Tsushima was as well, but I think just like the raw bump in fidelity that you get from like having the PS5, it's like phenomenal. And I can't imagine what the game looks like on a PlayStation 5 Pro.
I can't wait to
it looks so good.
Dig into photo mode and just go ham taking screenshots. Was it like a well-populated world as well? Like the side missions you engage with? I mean, those I think were some of the more memorable moments of the first game, like dipping into an onsen or like following a fox to a shrine, that kind of thing. Was there more of those kind of moments as well?
All that stuff is still sort of here. Like you have the bamboo strikes. The hot springs are still here for the health increases. The fox dens as well. The haiku, the poem writing, is not in this game.
I don't mind that. I can do without
that. They changed that out for like it's like a painting mini game where you use the touchpad. Okay. It's pretty straightforward. You're just tracing lines, but it's a cool touch to use the DualSense for that. And one other new thing is the wolf dens, which are like you might stumble across a wolf den in the open world that the Yotei 6 have been. That for whatever reason, they're trying to stamp out the wolf population, and you basically help the wolves, take back their land. And you might like help a wolf dispatch some goons, and then you'll follow the wolf to a Yotei 6 camp and free the wolves that they're holding captive there. And then that plays into the wolf skill tree that Atsu has. Sometimes you can have a wolf that accompanies you in combat or in stealth and things like that. So that's how you progress that. Yeah. So all of that stuff is still really tied into progression. So it gives you good reason to engage with it when you come across it. Yeah.
Where did your game time clock out at the end?
About, I think, 39 hours.
Okay. All right.
I reckon.
That's digestible.
And that was, all of the main story. And I did a healthy chunk of side content. And that was also on hard difficulty, or one up from whatever normal was. Yeah. And there were a couple of boss fights that I was stuck on for a while.
Yes, fair enough. Were you left eager for more? And do you think you'll be kind of diving back into Legends, the multiplayer mode, when it arrives next year?
I don't know if I'll dip into Legends just because it's not really my thing. Maybe I'll check it out, but
I might try and tempt you.
Yeah. there is some post-game stuff that unlocks once you beat the campaign. Just some like tales that you can only do in the post-game, which is pretty cool to get some new gear. So I'm definitely interested in going back to do more of that. And just generally speaking, like I think I want to do more of the side quests and the tales, because I do think a lot of them are pretty good. And even something as simple as like bounty hunting, where you can like find bounties and then you need to locate the target. They feel like a little bit more fleshed out than just go here and kill a dude. Like one early on, there's someone who has been laying traps for unsuspecting travelers. He like sets up a camp with food and drink and like a tent for you to sleep in, and he wants people to come and sit, and then he kills them in their sleep.
Wow.
So you go and pretend to be a weary traveler, and he comes out and you deal with him accordingly. But that's just like one example of how, something that in other games would just be like you go here and take someone out. It's further contextualized in the world. And one other really cool thing that I love about the bounty board is that Atsu herself will pop up on the bounty board. Like the Yotei 6 will put out a bounty for her. And as you take down more members of the Yotei 6, the bounty gets higher and higher and higher and higher. And more people come to Ezor, which is like the land that this game is set in, to hunt her specifically. So there's like a narrative reason that more goons are showing up in the open world and that they're more kitted than the previous guys you've been fighting, which I thought was a really nice touch.
I like that. Yeah, I can't wait to jump in. And you've definitely kind of sold me on it as well. Like, I think not that I needed much convincing, but yeah, it sounds like it's arrived and ticked all the right boxes for me. So very, very excited to play it. And thanks for joining the podcast for this little guest appearance that we're squeezing in.
Yep. My pleasure. Happy to jump on.
But James, let's now talk about Silent Hill F, which you reviewed. A game I know you were kind of excited for, but maybe a little bit cautiously optimistic as well at the same time. How did it land in the end?
Yeah, I really liked it. It surprised me in all the right ways. So I've noticed this trend. I feel like when a game, I kind of think that I'm not sure about it in the trailers and stuff. I tend to really enjoy it. So I don't know if that's just lowered expectations, makes it makes it overall a better experience. But yeah, I just think with Konami, you know, SH2 was great, but there was a really good blueprint to work from there, right? And Metal Gear Delta, my score was a bit lower, but that was a 1-to-1 remake pretty much, just with better graphics. So this was like Konami's like first original game in a long time, it feels like. So yeah, and then like the team behind it was like the people who made Resident Evil Reverse, and like, you know, it's just like there's all of these things where you're like, oh, like I don't know what they're doing, but
on paper it was a bit dubious.
Yeah, and like I'm assuming, say, Capcom gave Neobards $10 to make Reverse, whereas this feels like Konami gave them millions of dollars to make a game. Do you know what I mean?
Which feels like the reverse of what would happen.
Yeah, I agree. So, this feels great. It's a really good game. It's worthy of like the Silent Hill name. It feels like a mainline game. Like, I'm happy to call it Silent Hill 5 if you ignore the other ones, or 7 if you listen to all of them. Like, it feels very much within the series in terms of like the concepts. Obviously, it is completely standalone. You don't need to have played anything previously to understand it. There's a lot of, I want to say, parallels or links to the newer game. Sorry, the older games, newer in the timeline, but older in reality. But that's all stuff that I'm making up. Do you know what I mean? Like it could fit, but it also doesn't. Like it doesn't kind of insist upon itself being in the series, if that makes sense. Like it's just happy to do its own thing. And it reminds me a lot, this is a really random comparison, but BioShock Infinite in that way is the same kind of thing, in that you look at BioShock 1 and BioShock Infinite together, they are, at the core, there are elements there that are very similar and that, you know, have that kind of BioShock vibe. But then everything else, like the setting and kind of the style and stuff, is quite different, and that's what Silent Hill F feels like to me compared to, say, Silent Hill 1, 2, and 3. So, yeah, like it's very good. It's very creepy. The combat is I think the combat is fun. I think some people are really hung up on it being like Dark Souls. I don't think it's like Dark Souls. I think some of the boss battles are, for sure, but I think the combat in this is just so much more than, say, just copying Dark Souls, or, you know, it feels like a proper evolution of the melee combat that was in SH2, 3, so even 4. So yeah, I think it's really good, and I think the story especially, there's nothing like this in games, like in terms of the stuff that it talks about and the themes that it explores and where it goes and how it explores those themes and stuff. Like, it's just a really, really well put together experience. Are
you able to kind of tease what some of those themes are without giving too much away? Or
no.
Okay.
No. So like you play like
what it might explore.
Yeah, no. Hinako, the girl you play, she is I think like 14 or 16 or something, and there's a lot of, I guess, like cultural anxiety within her about, you know, who she should be as like a woman in 60s Japan and who she actually is. In terms of, you know, she's a bit tomboyish, she does sport, and, you know, she spends time with boys, like, instead of girls. Like, there's kind of stuff like that. But it takes that to like an extreme that you kind of don't expect it to, but it all comes together really well. I don't know how else to explain it, but it reminds me of a lot of Silent Hill 3 in that way, because that game was a lot about there was a lot of themes there to do with like womanhood and anxiety about, you know, gender roles and stuff. But I think, yeah, there is genuinely nothing like this. I think it's worth playing just for that. One of the criticisms that I do have of it, though, and this is something that's great for me, but probably isn't great for everyone else, you can finish this game and it ends, and it's quite abrupt, but you can kind of put it all together. But if you play it a second time, a lot of the houses that were locked are now open, and there's a lot more files to find, and there's a few more extra side quests that you can do that you couldn't do before, and that will affect the different endings you get, which kind of basically New Game Plus in this game, it's not like playing the game again. It kind of continues the story rather than repeat it, if that makes sense.
Okay. Yeah.
So, and this isn't like, to be clear, this isn't a time loop thing or anything it's nothing like that. Like it's just giving you another reason to play it, and it's a pretty good reason, because like even some bosses and stuff, you won't ever see them unless you play a second time.
Is it more like an alternate universe kind of like version of the story? Like you can kind of go through it, discover new things, and experience a different ending? Like, does it go much more of a meaningful different direction?
There's again, like I don't want to ruin it if people do want to do that, but there is the way that, so with Silent Hill, there is always like, say, like the other world, right? Like the rusty kind of other Silent Hilly world, and there's like the real world. This does that in a way. The nature of the other world, though, is probably what's being played with the most in the New Game Plus stuff.
Right.
It's probably it's like really hard to talk about without ruining the whole thing.
Yeah, I'm just getting.
But it's just like every time I've played it, I'm on my 4th run now, and like every time,
wow,
you know, like you play it, there's like just so I think this is the last run. There's nothing else after this, but there's just more layers that kind of get unraveled, and it's such a cool idea, cool experience, I think. I know Nier played with this a bit, and Nier definitely was a bit more meta in the way that it played with that, but this just feels like something really, really cool, and even it makes you rethink all the basic things you do in the game the first time through, and how that plays into the story.
Interesting.
But again, I don't want to ruin it without like... But yeah,
I'm sensing.
I think,
have you had an opportunity like to really dig into this with someone that has played the game? I'm sensing you're desperate.
Not a single person. Like no one. Obviously, it's only hit early access like last night. All my friends are picking it up tomorrow, so hopefully I'll have somebody like to you know talk with, because it is one of those games where I would love to do a spoiler cast on this as an example, because like it is just it's a story that is just so ripe to like pick apart and kind of delve into. And you can do that regardless of your like experience with the series, which I think is really cool. I think it's
okay.
I understand why they didn't call it Silent Hill 7 or 5 or whatever, but this does feel like an incredible like kind of step forward for the series that I don't think I ever could have imagined them taking. And I love when that happens, like when they kind of surprise you and take things in a new direction that you weren't expecting.
I wanted to circle back to the combat a little bit, because you said that other people have compared it to Dark Souls. You wouldn't necessarily kind of do that yourself. Is it like, are you swinging a sword and shield? Like, where does that comparison come from?
There's no guns. I guess the main thing is the bosses are hard. Which is probably the closest these games do get to FromSoft games.
Would you say that difficult? Like, is that kind of...
No, I don't reckon. Like I'm somebody who is like naturally good at games, but it took me like 10 to 20 minutes, I reckon, per boss, like to get through.
Shannon's face.
Yeah, no.
Could you say that weekly? Like I can't even bother refuting it.
No, because like I'm not going to say, oh, no, they're easy, but then like I know there are people who struggle with games more than I do. Like I'm not saying it to be like an asshole. Like I genuinely, people have different skills, and I've probably been playing more, so that's also probably why, you know.
Yeah.
But to get back to what you're saying, Ewan, I guess the combat is like, you know, you have to manage a stamina meter, I guess, and that is maybe people... I just think on the surface, like, sure, yeah, they both have stamina meters, and you can dodge and evade, but I think that this game is just so much more than that, like, in Do you know what I mean? Like, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I'm playing Dying Light 2 that's part of the problem. Dying Light the Beast at the moment, and that has a
2.5.
stamina meter, but I wouldn't say that it's Dark Souls like in any
yeah,
way.
I guess because there's enemies who attack, and if you fumble an attack, they can hit you back, right? Like, so your hits do have to be a bit more considered and deliberate, but. Isn't that every melee combat system in any action game? And this is what the director said when people were like, oh, it's just like Dark Souls. And he was like, no, but it's just an action-adventure game. And that's what it is. Like, I don't really... I understand how people can say that it's like Dark Souls in that way. But I just think if you just look a little deeper or play it, that's probably the first step. Maybe play it. Like, it is a little bit more than that. And I think it fits really well with, like, what the game is. Because, Silent Hill in the past has had guns and shit, but, like, we're in the 60s in Japan and you're a 14-year-old. Like, we're going to get a gun. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it wouldn't make much sense. Yeah.
Do you see this as, like, a good new starting point for Silent Hill? Like, I know we had Silent Hill 2 and are getting Silent Hill 1, but if, I guess this is your first Silent Hill game, for whatever
100%.
reason, like, is it a good reboot of the franchise?
Well, it's not a reboot, but...
it's a reboot in the sense that it might be the first new Silent Hill game for a lot of people.
Yeah. Yes, like, sure, 100%. Like, I think that's what's kind of cool about Silent Hill now is between the remake of 2, the eventual remake of 1, and this, and to a lesser extent, Short Message, which I hated. There's a lot of different Silent Hill experiences that are all quite solid. Again, except
the hallmarks
are
there.
Message.
There's like some kind of like thematic underpinnings, I guess, but otherwise they're kind of unique experiences.
And Townfall will presumably be the same. And as somebody who played Stories Untold from the same team, that was some incredible horror just through text. Like that was a game that had me looking over my shoulder while I was reading it. So I think they have a really good grasp on it too. So I think. Yeah. It is exciting. It's like a really good spot. They're in a really good spot now. Hopefully they can keep it up. Like
Capcom shook.
No, I mean, I don't think they're quite there yet, but this is definitely feels like they're... I mean, to lazily compare it to something else, this does feel like their Resi 7 moment, where it is quite different, but the core is there, and it's the beginning of something new for, like, the series. Whether they keep it up, though, have to wait and see. But yeah, I think this is definitely worth your time. I loved it.
At least Konami are starting to care again. I feel like there was genuinely a point where they mightn't have released another AAA game ever again.
Yes, that is true.
They were like doing nothing but like updating pachinko machines and stuff like that, right?
100%.
Yeah.
It just makes me wonder though, like, where do they take Metal Gear now? Because I feel like you can't do an original Metal Gear. Like, that's a bit tougher.
There'd be so much pressure on like that team to get it right, and whoever is like kind of credited with the writing of it as well, especially. Yeah, I kind of hope there is a way to do that, but I almost would rather they bury the hatchet with Kojima some way and get his like stamp of approval, and maybe like one of his proteges that he's been talking about or something could step in and kind of carry it on under his supervision or something. I don't know, but. Yeah, that still feels impossible at this current point in time. Just before we close out Silent Hill F, though, I did want to ask you about the kind of art style of it too, to just touch on that briefly, because that was kind of one of the most eye-catchy things about the trailers, and I think you kind of reflected on it as well in your review, the kind of beautiful but kind of
disgusting
macabre element.
Like,
disgusting. I was trying to remember the exact word you used. Yeah,
I think I said beautiful but grotesque, which is like what
grotesque.
Like it is. It's so pretty, but then these flowers are growing in these like bloody pustules and stuff, and it's like pulsating. And because in the old games, you know, rust would kind of like permeate through, in not all of them, but in most of them. So like they've kind of replaced that element with these like red spider lilies and stuff, and they are really they have a really weird, gross effect on me. I don't know how to describe it. Like a lot of the enemies, they have them just growing out of them and stuff, and the way that they're positioned, and the art style is really gross. Like it's a new artist for the series, but the art style is very gross. They really nailed that side of it as well. And I think that's what's also good about everything about this game is it's trying something really different. It's not just trying to kind of emulate the first 3 games that everyone loved. because Silent Hill 5 and 6, like Downpour and Homecoming, were very much like that, just trying to be like the old ones. But this one, yeah, it just feels completely its own thing. And the art style is, again, unlike anything you've ever seen. It is just, there's so much like uniqueness to this whole game in terms of concept and the horror of it and the art style. So I think it's well worth your time.
Nice. I'm glad you're so up on it. That's really cool. I wish I could be as up on Dying Light, the Beast, and kind of speak as passionately about that as you have.
Really?
I've
heard good things about this, so I'm shocked.
I'm kind of a little bit torn on it, because I think in many ways it's kind of like a return to the elements of the game, or to the franchise that fans really quite loved. And it does kind of feel more of like it's picking up where the following kind of left off. I think Dying Light 2, for whatever sort of reason, didn't quite resonate with people right away. James, I remember you and I spoke an awful lot about kind of the story taking a little while to get going and the new mechanics, like taking a while to get introduced, that kind of thing. But I feel like the Beast is kind of just ignored any of the progress that Dying Light 2 made and just kind of felt more of like a continuation of what the first game had achieved and the following at the kind of almost like retconning 2 in many ways. That being said, I think it's still a lot of fun and the same appeal is still there, but it really doesn't feel like it's reinventing much of the formula at all. And things like the vehicles, I'm really pleased that vehicles are back in it. I think the world is really quite cool, that like the kind of European kind of old town sort of setting and the surrounds,
so
and it kind of like mixes a bit of like a ranger park into the mix as well, like a national park into the mix too. Like it's a fun world to explore, but then it kind of gives you just like one vehicle type to use. Like every car you find is one of the Ranger's 4-wheel drives. It's kind of about it, so it doesn't really feel terribly fleshed out or kind of progressing it all that much further, and just kind of has foregone some of the more interesting elements of 2. That being said, I think like the story gets a hard rap. I think it's more than serviceable, but there's a kind of an interesting sort of compelling narrative to progress along, even if the characters aren't particularly interesting. I should note, at the point in time I'm talking to you, I am yet to kind of complete the story. I'm right near the end, but yet to have finished it off. At the moment, I think I'm sitting at like a 7.5, I would say. I think it like is somewhere like between good and great. Yeah. But I think it's the kind of game that, like, if you're a fan of Dying Light, and maybe particularly if 2 didn't kind of resonate with you, you're going to pick this up and love it. And if you get your friend group together to dive into the co-op, you're going to love that as well. And I will say the co-op like works very seamlessly on it, and it's been great. For context, we got the codes for it quite late, so it's been good to sort of play it in a live environment and review it kind of alongside friends. I feel like that's kind of how the game is meant to be experienced in many ways. But yeah, I guess it's just not really felt like what I would expect kind of a modern Dying Light game to feel like. And I thought it would take some of the lessons from 2 and build upon those and refine those. I feel like it's just kind of ignored the existence of 2 in many ways. And I'll say bugs have been a major issue for me in the first kind of week as well. Regularly kind of encountering a bug where I would have cleared out the enemies in an area and the mission hasn't recognized that, and either one just loops on spawn and I see that, or I'm just in an empty space waiting for something that isn't going to happen. Only way to resolve that has been closing out and reopening the game. And then I kind of had what was otherwise a very interesting mission in which a character is using psychic abilities to kind of hide your presence from other zombies. It was like set up to be a really cool mission. And then I had a bug in which that ability wasn't happening. And I was getting spotted constantly and totally unable to progress the mission. And I was totally unaware as to what was going wrong until I realized someone had a status on their gameplay screen that wasn't on my screen. Again, it was fixed with a hard reset. I haven't had to wait for a patch, but it has distracted from what would have been a more enjoyable experience otherwise, I think. So it's kind of one of these reviews that I think, like, if you play this in a month from now with a lot of those fixed, I think it maybe sits nearer the 8 sort of territory. But yeah, in my mind, playing at the moment, it's nearer a 7.5. Shannon, do you think you'll jump in and play any of it though? I think you've played some of the Dying Light games in the past,
Yeah,
right?
I mean, yeah, some of the like vehicles and guns weren't in Dying Light 2 either, were they? But they're in this. Like that,
I think they added them later, but yeah, and not more.
Yeah, appeals to me more than Dying Light did.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe one day, but probably not, to be honest. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and like that's another thing, like diving into the weapons and the mods and stuff. Like, yes, there are some cool like ranged weapons in there. The guns are pretty interesting, but like a lot of the weapon mods and stuff, it all feels kind of very familiar. I think there's just like an opportunity to kind of push it in sort of a new direction and do something new, and I just don't feel like there's a lot there.
I'm assuming anyone that enjoys these games are probably going to enjoy this, bugs aside, right?
Yeah. I think if you're content with like more of the same, and I know plenty of people will be, and they'll probably dive into this game and be much more favorable on it than I've been, like you'll be stoked. But yeah, it just doesn't feel like much of a step forward in my mind, and I was kind of hoping that it would be. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe something's to be said for them kind of going, okay, well, let's go back to the formula that we know worked and do something more like the following. And yeah, that'll be music to some people's ears. But I still think, like, be it the kind of glider or like some of the base building mechanics that kind of 2 introduced, like there was an opportunity here to not necessarily rehash those, but kind of introduce something new sort of mechanically into it. Yeah, even like the mission structures and stuff, like it all just feels very familiar. So yeah, I'm a little bit down on it for that regard, but otherwise I think a lot to be had. And I've got a few friends picking it up now and eager to kind of replay it, given that I've been powering through. So I'll probably restart it and play through with them. It's enjoyable enough for that at the very least. All right, let's close out the show, though, or at least like our kind of discussion-y segment of it, with an unpopular gaming opinion. This one comes courtesy of Tristan Bray over on our Facebook page. But send us your unpopular gaming opinions, however suits you. Tristan Bray, though, writes, 2017 Game of the Year was Horizon Zero Dawn, not Breath of the Wild. I have a lot of thoughts on this one, but James, I'm eager to hear yours first.
I agree with this. I am a well-known Breath of the Wild hater. Like, I just didn't vibe with that game. I understand why it was like...
talked about this before.
We have. Why it was like a moment for Zelda. Like, I get that, and it it definitely opened the series up to like a whole new range of people and stuff. But I think if I were to think of my experience playing those 2 games... like first, I just enjoyed Horizon so much more. And sure, probably cost more to make, whatever. I just think the mechanics were so fun, the combat was fun. It was just a really solid world. I don't know, it was just so cool. And then all people could tell me in Breath of the Wild was you can climb everything. And I'm like, cool, like I could do that in Assassin's Creed 1 back in the day when I was 17 or something. Like, it just wasn't it for me. Like, I could see there being a core in Breath of the Wild that was really good. But to me, like, Horizon, I think, again, maybe it was because of, this is a game from the Killzone devs, and I never liked Killzone. And I was like, I can't believe the people who made, in my opinion, such a creatively bankrupt trilogy could make a game as, like, interesting as Horizon Zero Dawn. So, yeah, I love Zero Dawn a lot more than Breath of the Wild, and I will die on that hill. But Tears of the Kingdom shits all over Forbidden West. I think.
Yeah. I think I'm in fierce agreement with you.
Wow.
which is rare. There should be
Very
celebrated.
rare.
Mark this in the history books. Fierce agreement with you. For me, like the moment-to-moment gameplay in Horizon Zero Dawn was just vastly superior to Breath of the Wild. I'm sure I've said this before, but I think Breath of the Wild scored an awful lot of brownie points by the fact it was kind of a Zelda game where Horizon was a new IP. You're looking a bit skeptical of that.
Well, no, I don't. I hate that argument, but yes, continue.
Yeah, I think like Horizon just, I think the like what it did in terms of the IP, this kind of like post-apocalyptic future that had kind of returned in many ways, this sort of prehistoric kind of tribal nature. I just thought it did like a bunch of really cool things, but really like the moment-to-moment gameplay I thought was far more compelling. And like you said, James, I hate the kind of argument that Breath of the Wild, you could climb everything. Like, look at this side by side of Aloy awkwardly trying to scramble up a rock or whatever. I was like, yeah, but I mean, Breath of the Wild, like, sure, you can climb everything, but you spend half of the game like staring at a blank rock face as you're like watching your stamina bar deplete.
I think the smaller moments in like Zelda are probably better in terms of just, I feel like that game probably flows a bit better when you look at it at a micro level, but I just think as a bigger picture, like when you get into combat and stuff, like I think there's just a lot more going on in Horizon that makes it slightly better. In my opinion.
I think it did some really cool things design wise, but like Tears of the Kingdom really kind of took that so much further. Shannon?
Yeah, we awarded Horizon our Game of the Year, which was controversial at the time. But
was it? I don't remember.
It was very controversial. I think Zelda, like, I get why people like Zelda. Like, it was, like, unheard of to play a game like that on a handheld, which we take for granted now. But, like, at that time, it was, like, groundbreaking.
That's true.
And B, Nintendo had just gone through, like, its worst, like, 5-year period in the history of the company. Like, and that was the start of what we know Nintendo as now. So I think that was big. But yeah, for me, Horizon like was fantastic. Like the story never really hit for me. It took me ages to finish it, but like in terms of just spending hours upon hours going around and doing little side stuff and taking down machines, like it was just really, really great. So yeah, I think it comes down to whether you like Nintendo or PlayStation more to an extent in terms of this one, whether you consider it to be popular or unpopular. I know.
I think maybe
I think
that's a
in terms
factor,
of like
but
fierce loyalty, like if you love Zelda, like you're probably gonna say Zelda is the better game, regardless. I think.
mean that's my point about like the brownie point like thing that.
But
Zelda gets.
I
think,
disagree
like,
with that because like that's the people who are like fiercely Zelda people like me. Don't like the steps that Breath of the Wild takes away from like the traditional Zelda formula. Like I think that's actually harder.
I didn't see that across the board just from me personally, but
maybe that's a smaller subsection of Zelda fans where they're like super pure.
There is definitely
owner of.
No, that is not true. There's definitely like a schism in the community between these two crowds.
Like the old
100%.
Zelda games like don't exist anymore. Like I get that. Like
Breath
they're
of the
very
Wild
different now.
Dungeons like aren't really dungeons like, right? I mean, maybe that's too unfair to say, but
What are
I
you
don't
talking
think
about in Breath of the Wild?
Breath of
They're
the
like
Wild.
not dungeons.
It's a huge, and they're not themed. They're like just these boring fucking like metal prisons. Like
even the boss, the
boss battles
the
are just all ghosts. They're just the big,
like they weren't
big
great.
Beasts.
Mythical beasts. Are they mythical or am I just making that up?
I think it is mythical beasts.
Mythical beasts. Yeah, I think you're right.
But they're not the bosses. The dungeons are the beasts. Yeah, but the bosses were just Ganon ghosts, and it's like, can we just have some arts, please? Can someone just design a boss like to look at? You know?
Yeah. But anyways, Horizon equally was like there weren't too many like open world games in that way on the PS4 that looked as good as it did, and just like. Yeah, the physics and everything else in that game was... I feel like it's in every single game now, as we've spoken about, but it was just special for PlayStation at the time.
Yeah. But yes, Tears of the Kingdom. Definitely trounced Forbidden West, unfortunately. Whilst we were talking there, I did pull up our list of the games, our top 10 Game of the Year picks for 2017. Horizon Zero Dawn was number 1. Breath of the Wild was 2. Super Mario Odyssey was 3. 4 was Hellblade. Senua's Sacrifice. This is where it gets controversial, I would say.
It's already
Wolfenstein 2, The New Colossus, number 5.
Wow.
Behind that, Resident Evil 7 at number 6. And 7, Uncharted, The Lost Legacy.
That is disgusting. That would be
It is a bit
because
blasphemous, I think.
none
that
of y'all played
Wolfenstein 2 came in
RE7
higher
straight away.
than RE7.
That's why. It was a lot. That game was a slow burn. It still is. Still sells like
It
a
is,
million
yeah.
every week. But like, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like that game has kind of just gained more and more appreciation.
What a good
over
year,
time.
though.
Great year. Yeah,
didn't
Assassin's
realise
Creed
that was the
Origin, Sonic Mania, and Cuphead rounded out our list that year.
Sonic Mania.
And I'm sure there were other great
right.
games that we didn't include in that list. But yeah, interesting.
Dynamic.
Keep
even.
these unpopular gaming opinions coming. They stir good discussions. I have a rapid fire question, though, before we move to What the Wiki. And that is that Death Stranding is getting an anime adaptation. Death Stranding Mosquito, I think it's called, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah.
I'm curious to ask the two of you, is there an animated video game adaptation that you've enjoyed or are you looking forward to? It's a rapid fire question of the day. You can answer both. One you have enjoyed and another you're looking forward to.
I'm not going to answer both, and I'll just give you 2 that I'm looking forward to instead. I'm excited
that's a
for
deal.
Mortal Kombat 2. I know it will be shit, but like the first one was actually quite fun.
Do you mean the
And I
movie?
think- Yeah, Mortal Kombat, like the movie.
I said
Like-
animated video game adaptation.
Oh, did you?
But-
Well, there's animated
yeah.
VFX in that. Oh, well, I have no answers.
Okay, touche.
Okay. Well, in that case, I have no answers because my second one's live action too. Sorry.
I'm just curious about like this trend of like animated ones. There's been a bunch I want
Is
to
there?
watch.
What
I
else
was
is there?
enjoying Arcane.
Cyberpunk.
Yeah, Cyberpunk I've heard really good things about. I wanted to dive in and watch that.
I just wouldn't
And
be
the
caught dead
Castlevania
watching
one
anime.
too. Is
Like,
that out, the
like-
Castlevania one?
There's like multiple Castlevanias. I mean, if you were
is
gonna
that
like
the Netflix
force me
one?
to watch something at gunpoint,
it's
I'd
out.
pick Cyberpunk or Castlevania, I guess, because they're cool worlds.
Yeah. Holy crap, there's 4 seasons of the Netflix
Oh
anime.
no, I'd take it back. Devil May Cry. I want to watch that because I love Devil May
Okay.
Cry.
Shannon, have you got an answer?
No, not animated. I was going to say Fallout Season 2, so I'll just
yeah.
say that and move on.
So none of us excited for this Death Stranding animation.
I'm
No,
just not
I'm
an anime.
done.
I'm with James.
I'm like done with Death Stranding. Like I loved both of them, but like let's move on from that world. Like I don't need more. Do you know what I mean? Is that controversial?
Fair
Why are you
enough.
pulling a face?
No, that's fair enough, I guess. Yeah.
Like, what more can they tell
I
me
just
about
struggle
this
to
world?
imagine you not being excited if Kojima said, "Hey, Death Stranding 3, it's coming out."
I wasn't excited for Death Stranding 2. Do you remember? Like, I don't know if you remember. Obviously, you don't.
No, I
but
don't really.
I distinctly remember watching the trailer and being like, oh, like we didn't need one. Like the story was fine. Do you know what I mean? And then
Yeah.
obviously, I played DS2
Oh.
and I loved it. Like I
Yeah,
but yeah.
I think I'd be much more interested in what Kojima's got in the works. We started the show talking about OD, and Fizzant is the other one as well. I'm much more
Yeah,
interested
like-
to see what those are than see at DS3.
I agree.
Let's play. Let's play What the Wiki, the Press Start podcast game show where the previous week's winner reads part of a Wikipedia page for an unknown game, and we, the contestants, must guess the game. A point is awarded for each correct guess, with the round concluding after someone's bagged themselves 2 points. Last week, I managed to clinch victory, which has helped me kind of defend my lead. I'm up in 28 points. Brody is away. He's off on a holiday, right? Is he traveling or is it for work? Yeah, he's off on a
He is
holiday.
traveling.
So he's got a gap behind me on 2 points that hopefully kind of remains that way while he's traveling. James, you're in third on 24. Shannon, you're in fourth on 20, and Harry is bringing up the rear on 4. Really, I should have given like Harry some trivia questions when I had him on the show earlier to get him some points. But as last week's winner, I'm in the hosting chair today. So if the two of you are ready, I will read you the games.
Always.
I'm saying nods. Yeah. Awesome. Game number 1. In the game, players must guide a 4-legged creature up an endless series of platforms without falling. The left side of the playing field wraps around to the right side. For devices with an accelerometer, players tilt the device to move the character in the desired direction. Players can retrieve power-ups such as propeller hats, jetpacks, rockets, springs, trampolines, and invulnerability shields. There are monsters and UFOs that you must avoid, shoot,
Shannon.
or jump on. Shannon.
I was going to say doodle jump, but it's not.
Are you
doodle
saying
jump,
doodle
is it?
jump?
Doodle jump, yeah.
It's doodle jump.
Oh my
yes.
God.
Well done, Shannon.
Wow.
Huge.
Shannon is off the mark. Game number 2. The objective of the game is to move a character through an endless path of static and moving obstacles as far as possible without hitting any hazards. By default, the character is a chicken that must cross a series of busy roads, rivers, and active train tracks.
Shannon.
Shannon.
Fuck.
Crossy roads.
It is Crossy Road. Well done. And a clean sweep too. Moves you up to 23 points. Well done,
love that.
Shannon.
Big.
James shaking his head in despair.
That sucks.
Look, I'm not
You've
going
got
to
to know
lie.
the wide
I
range
played
of
to an
games.
audience there.
Yeah, that's not very fair, but that's okay.
You had every opportunity to get those games as well, I reckon, James.
Doodle jump banger. Really good game.
Were Shannon and I talking about Doodle Jump just the
Yeah.
other day?
I thought Doodle
Wow,
Jump
okay.
had 2
So there was like some collusion as well.
There's no
Oh, he does
collusion.
have 4 feet. Wow, 4 legs.
Yeah. Apparently it's called the Doodler, which I didn't know, the character,
So good.
according to Wikipedia. Did you have a trivia question for me, James?
Yeah, I
For
don't.
what the
I want to make
gems
it
are?
really fucking hard now for you because you're being such a bitch with those games. Anyway, sure, Ewan, let's go. Obviously, still in beta, so I'm not going to explain the rules. But whoever hosts gets asked a question, so they can make the point that they might have lost. It's just a fun game for fun so far. So,
I'm not optimistic about my chances here.
Nah, I'll let you pick. I picked 3 Ewan-centric category. Oh, actually, not really. Oh, yeah, no, yeah, okay. So you can
Okay,
pick
I pick
Ewan.
a category first, and then I get a
Yeah,
question
we
in
did
that
this
category.
last
Okay,
week with
cool.
Brody. You
Yeah,
got to pick
I'm
a category.
just clarifying.
But the categories, it could be a trick. Who knows?
Oh, shit.
But it's
okay.
no, it's not. So that your categories, Ewan, are The Last of Us Part 1, Ghost of Tsushima, or Resident Evil 3 Remake.
See, I feel like if I pick The Last of Us, you're going to give me a really hard, obscure question. Whereas if I maybe go one of the others, I'm pretty confident in my knowledge of The Last of Us. I'm gonna lock that in. The other 2, I would struggle with any trivia, despite loving the games.
Okay. So Ewan, for 1 point,
Yeah.
why do Joel and Ellie go to the University of Colorado in The Last of Us Part 1?
It's not multiple choice, is it? There's something they need to retrieve. I mean, the whole adventure is trying to find the Fireflies. But I don't think that's why they were going to Colorado. Did they go to Colorado? Is that a trick question?
No, they didn't.
I don't know.
Wow. Fake fan.
And you
Fake
never will.
fan.
Yeah.
Does Shannon know?
Probably not.
Was it to see a person?
No.
You could say that's
Yeah.
like the end result of this action. So should we say no point for Ewan?
To find
Yeah.
It wasn't to find Bill and Ted. What are their names? They're
No,
not-
because he was in the town, not in the University of Colorado. Was it to find a car? Were they
No.
looking for a car? No.
No.
That was with Bill.
Okay, you've given me
Was
2
it a
answers.
horse?
You get
Were they after a horse?
Should we? No, don't you get the horse? Don't you already on a horse when you get there?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, well, because I'm feeling sympathy, let's do multiple choice.
Okay.
To trade supplies with a survivor group, to locate the Fireflies research team, to reunite with Tommy, or to find medical supplies for an injury.
I just can't stop loving.
Oh God, I am a fake fan. This is bad. I felt like I'd know for sure off the back of multiple choice.
Tommy.
Yeah, was it reunite with Tommy? I was leaning that way.
Wrong. Oh, sorry, Ewan.
Oh, I hate
no
the
points
sound
for
effects.
you. Yeah.
It wasn't an injury.
It was to locate the Fireflies research team.
Oh, what that?
I feel
that
like
felt,
you kind of said that.
I ruled
like,
that out
just
because I thought that was
generally.
too obvious.
He didn't. First of all, he didn't say that. Second of all, you
No,
ruled
I
that
said the
out
whole
'cause it's too
point of the
obvious. That
game was to try and find. Yeah. I thought
the
there was a
Fireflies
specific hurdle.
wasn't the research team is not all of the Fireflies though.
No.
So like, yeah, no,
Hang on. Was this the sequence in which you kind of find some information about it, but they've packed up and left, and then Joel falls and gets impaled?
Oh mate,
Was
I don't
that
know. I just
sequence?
googled it. I was like,
Okay, all right.
yeah.
All right, fake Last of Us fan. No points for Ewan.
Oh well, too bad you didn't pick Resi.
What would have been the Resi question? I'm curious. Or do you want to save it for another day?
No, I don't reuse anything. Actually, no, you would have. Or maybe. Which grenade launcher ammo type was in the remake and was great for controlling Nemesis's movement?
I had no idea.
Yeah, it
Stun
plays
grenade,
a huge part. Mine round.
flashbang,
The mine grenades. But yeah, that's
the
fine.
mine grenades.
Anyway, I did. To be fair, I forgot that.
I think I spent
so.
too much time running. I don't think I was firing many grenades.
It's during the boss battle, babes. But yes.
Oh,
no,
is
all
it?
good.
Okay.
Anyway, sorry, Ewan. No point
With
for
that-
you. Our first loss for the trivia.
Yeah. It was always going to be me. I said I was not feeling confident.
Yeah.
With that, let's bring an end to what was this week's episode of the Press Start podcast. Subscribe to us on Listen or the podcast service of your choice. Follow us at press.au and visit the site at pressstart.com.au. We've been joined today by Shannon.
Yeah, you can follow me at Shannon Grixty.
And our host of What the Jamsy was James.
Yes, you can find me on Twitter at JamesATJMZ, or I'm also on Blue Sky. Someone found me on Blue Sky, so that's exciting. So
Oh yeah, because you've never given away your handle. You've been secretive about
and
it.
I'm not secretive. I just don't know how to eloquently and quickly say like this. It's like jamsy.bsky.social.app. Whatever. Like it's just not. You know,
It is a mouthful. I get it.
Yeah.
I've been Ewan. You can follow me on socials at Ewan_Roxburgh. We'll be back again next week. But until then, happy gaming.
Ciao.
Bye.